Here we are up at the Westminster Boulevard Water Tower, standing at the gate of the facility. What's that on the fence there? It looks like a sign. It says RF hazard area beyond this point. Oh, what's happening here? Oh, we've got some people running around doing some work here. Oh, are they inside the RF hazard area? Oh, there they go again. They're walking past the sign. They don't seem to be wearing any protective clothing. No special hats. In fact, not everyone's wearing a hat here. Is this occupational health and safety practice best practice in Allconnex Corporation? Here we've got people wandering around the site, standing at the foot of the tower. Just on the other side is an active mobile phone base station. To the right of the crew is a pole which is handling RF emitting radiation. And oh yes, someone's put a hat on. That's very important. Got to keep the head covered, but it doesn't look like everyone's wearing a hat here. And there's a sign that says there's tree work in progress. It's all very friendly. We're all standing underneath radio frequency emissions devices, contrary to ARPANSA recommendations. This crew, by the time they'd finished working on site, the tree loppers in particular, had been on site for at least 3 hours. And here is another group shot. Some people are very concerned about what may fall on their head. No one seems to be concerned at all about what is happening to them while they're standing underneath the RF emission devices, contrary to the recommendations of the National Radiation Authority, ARPANSA, which coincidentally borrows its standards or bases its standards on recommendations of the World Health Organization, which were set recently by a committee composed largely of representatives from power generation authorities and telecommunications companies. Might there be a conflict of interest in that? I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting to note that the standards that Australia has adopted, citing them as international best practice, are actually 100 times more than the standards which are allowed in countries such as Russia, some other countries in Eastern Europe, and some European countries. The Russians basically state that they need to take account of human health issues before they consider business interests in the setting of the standards. To this day, the Russian standard for RF emissions is 100 times less than the Australian standard based on world's best practice. Interesting to note too that the Australian standard does not take into account non-thermal effects of low-level emissions, whereas the Russian standard does. We can see here in the picture, this group of people don't seem to be very concerned about what is happening on site to them with regard to radiation emissions. So we need to ask the question, is the sign on the gate realistic? Where is the workplace occupational health and safety officer in charge of this site? Are the interests of these workers being looked after by the various corporations involved with the construction of a microwave transmitting device on this site at Westminster Boulevard, Elanora? It's clear from the footage that we've seen here that none of the personnel depicted on this film seem to be aware of any issue with regard to low-level radiation emissions from radio frequency devices. Is there a breach of duty of care being exhibited here with regard to the management of these personnel by their various contracting organisations? Questions for Gold Coast City Council, Allconnex Corporation and Connect Corporation to answer regarding the health, safety and welfare of their employees. Matters for concern, I think.